One of the adorable things over the last 10 years is seeing like the gradual shift. 10 years ago, the narrative was that like Nintendo relied too much on Mario. We're getting too many Mario games. They're not very good. Nobody wants to see this anymore. We want to see more niche stuff. We want to see Star Fox come back. We want to see like more Fire Emblem. We want to see like more Xenoblade. We want to see more stuff for mature adult gamers, right? That was the narrative 10 years ago. And now, that we're, 2026, Switch 2, like, right now, you have a lot of people like Nintendo, like Nintendo Land. They're coming out and saying that, like, oh no, Nintendo's forgotten about Mario. They say after a Mario Party update, after Mario Kart World, after the release date confirmed for Super Mario Bros. Wonder update, like the expansion for that. Like you're really gonna sit there and pretend that like Nintendo is struggling very specifically because they don't have a new 3D Mario. Like what are you talking about, bro? Like did you not play Bonanza last year? It's just it's such like an amazing cope. These guys aren't interested in like specific kinds of games or games in general. What they want is this idea that, like, oh yeah, Nintendo, they have to be doing exactly what they're not doing right now. So, like, 10 years ago, it was like, oh, we need to stop New Super Mario Bros. We need to stop this. We need to stop the 2D platformers. And now it's like this weird put on a pedestal, like, 3D Mario, like acting as if 3D Mario is like the biggest thing Nintendo does. It's not, but it's very very frustrating how every console generation we have to go through this. Like instead of being happy about what we are getting, all the great games we're getting now, there's always this like complaint about like where's Mario, where's Zelda, where's Metroid, and it's just like why they're coming, like we just got a Metroid Prime 4, like what are you talking about? Like, and that is something that I do think we do need to address is like, why exactly do we need to sit here and start asking about like 3D Mario? Especially after something like Bonanza, which honestly probably should be seen as like the 3D Mario game for the gen. Like, I don't understand the mindset that people are in when they start freaking out over not getting like a 3D Mario confirmed. Like, I just don't see the purpose in it. Like Odyssey like came out like 9 years ago, right? It's still perfectly playable today. Got an update on Switch 2. It looks better than ever, right? There are plenty of like Mario games to play. Like I don't understand why you have to like sit there and cry that we need a 3D Mario now. And that's kind of the narrative, I think, is that the idea that like only a 3D Mario could sell a Nintendo console. Like, never mind, that's been shown not to be the case. Donkey Kong is an A-list franchise again. That's something that a lot of these people aren't like willing to accept. And we have like tons of other games coming out, like, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is going to be huge. Pokepia is going to be huge. We have Rhythm Heaven. We have like Tamagotchi Life. All that's going to be huge. But like, people are like legit sitting there complaining about not getting a 3D Mario or like, mature Western like third person shooters. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the position we're in now, is that like people will just like incessantly try and present this narrative that Nintendo is like just not doing what they need to do to succeed, even though that they are, as we've seen, they have become super successful. That's actually a thing now. Right, actually, is that like Nintendine and like Angry Vigilante Gamer have come out and tried to say that like, oh no, the Switch 2 is actually doing really poorly. Like, ignore the numbers that say otherwise. It's actually really bad. Like, it's not true. I looked into it. It's not true. So like, basically, what we're seeing is just people bending over backwards trying to find anything to complain about. Right now it's like complaining about 3D Mario, but when it does get confirmed, when it does get announced, you're going to see a lot of people complaining about it. They were complaining about Fire Emblem Engage for being too like Saturday morning anime-ish, when that was confirmed, right? I was doing that. And then like, Fortune's Weave gets announced and like nobody cares. Everybody's just kind of like ignoring it at this stage. Like it's just embarrassing, honestly. Like, we have all these great games coming out, and like over the next couple of months, and like you still have like dipshit YouTubers trying to say the Switch 2 has no games. And it's just embarrassing. It really should get called out for what it is, as just a gigantic cope by people looking to push an agenda, for people looking to grift. You know, that's kind of my mindset at this point. That's kind of my opinion at this stage, is that like everyone's just kind of like making excuses to like continue complaining about Nintendo. And like the idea that like Nintendo has forgotten about Mario, like the fact that that's become a meme now, that really just goes to show you just how how insane and out of touch they are. Like how these people actually are. You know, are you saying that like Mario is defined exclusively by the 3D platformers? Yeah, let's just ignore the far more successful 2D platformers. Let's ignore Mario Party. Let's ignore Mario Kart. Like, only the 3D platformers matter. Only that is a real Mario game. It's just downright silly and really should be made fun of more, I think. And there are plenty of people calling out for being ridiculous. Like, you know, I've been calling it out for a long time, but like I do think going into like the Switch 2 season, you're gonna be seeing a lot of this. Like it seems like a lot of the big major titles for like at the very least the first year of Switch 2 are going to be like lesser known, smaller IPs. You know, Kirby Air Riders. We got like Fire Emblem. You know, Donkey Kong came back. Like you know, Rhythm Heaven, Tamagotchi Life. Like Fire Emblem. You know, like Three Houses 2, Fortune's Weave. Like we have stuff like that, right? So what I don't understand is why like people have to get so uppity about 3D Mario specifically. And like it really is just a giant cope to try and find something to complain about. You know, if you really like break it down to brass tacks, like the real reason they're upset, it has nothing to do with sales, it has nothing to do with like Mario or 3D platformers. Like it's entirely just based on this notion that like this is something we can complain about right now and we're just going to like take advantage of it. And I do think that these people do need to be made fun of. Like they absolutely do need to be bullied for like their nonsense. Like, you know, Nintendo has forgotten about Mario should be like that should be something that gets people laughed at, honestly. Like Nintendo should have had like millions of people like in his comment section like making fun of him for that. Like you know, and that's what happened in Nintendo Land, right? You know, like a couple of you know, back when he started bringing this up, it was a joke, but now like people are like trying to like pass it off as serious, like take it seriously in a desperate bid to try and downplay the Switch 2. And it's just not going to work. We are going to see that firsthand over the next several years.